What if Apple stock could trade 24/7, settle instantly, live in your crypto wallet, and be used inside DeFi just like any other token? You guys, this is not a theory anymore. It's already live, and it's called xStocks. That's a lowercase x, stocks on Solana. In just 6 weeks, tokenized stocks on Solana have processed over $2.1 billion in volume, quietly becoming one of the biggest real-world asset experiments in crypto. Today, we are going to break down what xStocks are, how they work, why Solana is winning in tokenized equities, and why this could be a massive bridge between traditional finance and DeFi. So guys, buckle up. We're going in depth on Solana and the new news on xStocks. Here we go. All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. If you care about real world assets, institutional crypto adoption, or where markets are actually heading, this is one of the most important stories of 2025. This is not meme speculation. This is real world infrastructure and real world asset tokenization. The stuff we've been talking about forever is starting to happen, and it's happening with real money. So let's start with the problem. For much of the world, buying US stocks is slow, expensive, restricted by geography, locked behind brokers and paperwork. Markets close. Settlement takes days. Access depends on where you live. And that friction locks millions of people out of one of the most powerful wealth building tools ever created. Now, ask yourself this question. What if a stock behaved like a token? Guys, that is exactly what xStocks are. xStocks bring US stocks and ETFs on chain as SPL tokens on Solana. So each xStock is backed 1-to-1 by a real share. It is held with a regulated custodian, fully collateralized, redeemable through compliant channels. So one real share of Apple. So say you'd go on your E-Trade account or whatever you use, and you go type in AAPL. Boom, buy one. Now you have one share of Apple. With xStocks, one real share of Apple equals one AAPLX token, right? They tokenized stocks. There's no synthetic exposure. It's not fake. It's a 1-to-1. Also, it's not leverage, right? We are not leveraging. This is a 1-to-1 backed stock to a token of Apple stock. It's real equity, and they tokenized it. So xStocks launched on Solana on June 30th, 2025, and it was created by Bakkt, one of the longest running real world asset issuers in crypto. So what's live right now? Well, go back to August 2025. There's 60, maybe 60 plus tokenized US stocks and ETFs. So we have names like Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Tesla, Amazon, Meta, the Meg 7 as they like to call them. There's also index exposure like SPY and QQQ, and even gold via GLDX, right? That's G, capital L, capital D, lowercase x. That's how they're denoting it. All the tickers will end with a lowercase x. So Nvidia, NVDAX, Tesla, TSLAX, right? You get the picture here. That's how they're denoting a tokenized version of the underlying stock. So non-US users, right, can buy, hold, and transfer these just like any Solana token. It's on chain. It is on chain. And yes, they live directly in your wallets, right? So not a brokerage account. It lives in your crypto wallet like Phantom and Soulflare. So why is this different, guys? What is this? It's not just tokenized stocks sitting on chain doing nothing. These xStocks are composable from day one. That means you can trade them on Radium or Jupiter. You can use them as collateral on Camino. You can pool them in AMMs, borrow against them, and move them instantly. You can trade 24/7. So imagine, if you will, let's come up with a scenario here. Someone in Brazil, right, buy $50 of AAPLX, so Apple X, the tokenized version of Apple, at night. They can immediately use part of that purchase as collateral, borrow stable coins, deploy the rest into DeFi, all within minutes. That simply does not exist in traditional finance. Oh, this is just crazy, guys. This is so much to take in. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about how xStocks work under the hood. Like, what is actually happening at a system level? Because we need to understand the technology. To make it in crypto, you have to understand below the surface level, below what's being reported. That makes you intelligent, right? It makes you know how it works, not just somebody says it's cool. So here's how the system actually works. So Backed purchases real shares through traditional brokers. The shares are held with a regulated custodian. Exactly one SPL token is minted per share. Supply will stay strictly 1-to-1. Chainlink, Chainlink. We talked about Chainlink, very important Oracle. Chainlink will provide price feeds and corporate action data. Dividends automatically reinvested into token balances. No manual processing, no paperwork, no settlement delays. So guys, this is where Solana really shines, because there is programmable compliance built into this. Solana was made for this. So xStocks will use Solana token extensions, which can allow corporate actions like splits and dividends to just work. Like that's some complex stuff, right? Splits and dividends work automatically, so you don't need to worry about that. There's emergency pause controls, lawful seizure mechanisms if required, transfer compliance logic, future privacy features, and this is all critical because it allows these xStocks to say regulatory compatible. And again, remember guys, we keep talking, if this stuff is going mainstream and we want to make money, the big boys need to get involved and we need regulation. So all of that allows the xStocks to stay regulatory compliant, institutionally acceptable, right? If it complies with all the regulations, institutions can use it. But it is also still fully DeFi composable. This is how TradFi assets will move on chain without breaking the rules. So how about the launch? When did this go out? It wasn't small. It went live on Kraken, Bybit, Radium, Jupiter, Camino, Phantom, and Solflare. Within 6 weeks of launch, 2.1 billion cumulative volume, 500 million directly on chain, and 58% of all tokenized stock trading in 2025. Solana holds the majority market share as of now, and composability was the growth engine. So 2.1 billion, that's a lot, but in the scheme of the stock market, it's tiny. So there is $120 trillion opportunity here, right? Global equities are worth over 120 trillion. And tokenization doesn't need to capture all of it, because even a few percentage points of that number is absolutely massive, right? Absolutely massive. So xStocks will target 3 groups: non-US investors seeking access, crypto native users who want equity inside DeFi, retail investors who benefit from fractional ownership and instant settlement. This is the internet capital market thesis in action. So let's think of xStocks as a bridge, not hype, not speculation. A real step towards merging Wall Street, crypto, programmable finance. Ownership becomes fluid. Assets become tools. Capital moves at the speed of data without friction. That, my friends, is the real upgrade. So xStocks kind of showed us what can happen when regulation, blockchain, and real assets finally align all together. And this is likely just the beginning. So guys, if you want deeper coverage on tokenized assets, Solana infrastructure, and where crypto is actually headed, like this video, hit subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. But remember, we are talking cryptocurrency. It is volatile. It moves fast, which is why we need to stay focused and lock in, because the world is becoming tokenized.